Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. I had to think for a second. We're live in Vegas right now as we speak. Got in late last night. I think by the time I settled down, I was just telling Andrew in the back, it was about 4 a.m. East Coast time. So it was 1 o'clock back here. Got about 3 hours in, got caffeinated, got a quick 3 miles in, 3 cups of coffee, I'd say. And we're raring to go. And I'm blessed today because Andrew is going to squeeze in a quick show with us to allow us to do our cross the border talking some NHL before he comes to Vegas. He's got a busy day himself getting ready to come on over to Vegas. So we're blessed and honored to keep the weekly show across the border, and we're fired up. So without further ado, let's bring in, I'd like to say, Mr. Puck himself, the one, the only, Mr. Andrew McInnis. Good morning,
Hello,
Andrew.
hello. Good morning.
How
And
are you?
and I have to say, I am blessed to be here with you because I cannot have somebody get up at the crack of dawn to do a show or just be up that early in general. And then me being here at 11 a.m. where I am and not do a show. So no matter how busy I am, we can definitely fit in 30 minutes, keep the streak going. We like to keep streaks going in betting, and we'll keep this streak going with the show. So it's great to be here. How was your traveling?
I had the change of gate. I had the hour delay. And I got there real early too. I'm one of these guys. I don't know how the TSA lines and all that stuff's going to be. So I rather spend extra time in the airport than waiting in lines and stuff. But I breezed straight through TSA, got some good lunch, did some work, and we were all geared up and ready to get in. And the plane coming in was delayed. Then they got to clean it. They blah blah blah. So about an hour 15 delay. The flight itself wasn't the greatest, some turbulence. I would assume your flights, I would assume you get a little more turbulence than I'm used to.
Yeah, I'm going to Toronto tomorrow morning at I think 5 a.m. or something like that, and then from there to Vegas. So the good news is I'm a sleeper. I have no problem sleeping on the plane. So it's funny because I'm flying with a few buddies, actually going to America for the first time, and one of them especially doesn't like flying. And I'm just like, guys, like I've definitely flown more than them, but I also just don't mind just laying back and closing my eyes. And then you just wake up, and like that's what happened to me when I was flying from Toronto last time, to Vegas in December. No better feeling than waking up and realizing you only have like 45 minutes left of the flight or an hour. I mean, that would be ideal. But yeah, it would definitely get some turbulence. And with the weather the way it is right now, especially in the East Coast, as you know, you never really know. We never really know. I was telling you before the show, I already have some plans I've had to reschedule, and it's only early. It's only in the morning, based on traveling and snow and ice conditions. How long is your flight? I was curious. From you're flying from Logan, right?
Yeah, and it works out great. Is I left. We were supposed to leave at 6:35 in Logan. We didn't literally leave till 7:35. And Sharapan was at McCarran at 10 our
Okay.
time. So it's about 5.5 hours, the direct flight. What I usually do is this, one of the two things, Andrew. I either grab the red eye, which is perfect because then you just crash, and that's perfect, or you get the early morning one out of Logan, like at 6 a.m. You get to McCarran at around 9 a.m. You got the whole day and night. I was
Yeah.
caught in between. The good thing that I had was I was able to watch both the NIT and the playing.
Nice.
So we actually went 2-1 for the day. We had the
Sweet.
Jets, we had the Bonnies, so we made some money while we were flying. How's that sound?
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, for me, I've got the early flight, so I'm arriving in Vegas at like 11:10, something like that. So I'm happy the way it works out because obviously for me, It's 3 hour difference for you. It's 4 hours difference in time zone for me. So definitely going to be kind of a weird day. It's always weirder on the way back, though, as far as dealing with the time zone. But it's pretty great, because you feel like you've been traveling all day, and then we're going to get there. It's going to be like 11 o'clock in the morning. So get there and rest up and have a full day ahead of us. So, yesterday, not too bad of a day, but not great. It was kind of a split type of day for me, Jeff. So I'll leave it at that. But I'll tell you, one chalky play I made was Florida team total over 3.5, and that just blew up in my face. I mean, 3-2 win in overtime, plenty of chances. There was a goal called back. That was tough, but sometimes that stuff happens. But I will say, I guess I'm pretty thankful to have hit the Oilers puck line, because they were up 4-1 or 3-1, and they end up having to get the empty net magic for me. So that was nice, at least, to hit that one.
Our lone hockey game was the Jets. I looked at that line overnight and then in the morning, and then I'm like, okay. And I think they went from minus 101. We got them at around minus 124, 128. And the Knights.
Yeah, we were actually, I'll be honest, we were head to head. I'll be honest, we were head to head, and I was wrong. So I thought they'd put up a good performance. But
okay, so let's go quickly over the week in review. And what I want to bring up is I overheard this on my flight. It was kind of funny, people talking about it. And then I actually saw, I think, Wilpon and his partner talking about it. The Austin Matthews penalty, the cross check. If that was Marchand, he'd probably be suspended for the rest of the regular season, Someone like Matthews would, as they said, a choir boy, if he gets 15 minutes of penalty minutes a year, that's a lot. Thoughts on the play, thoughts on the suspension, justified, or what'd you think?
The way I look at it is it's kind of a lose-lose for Leaf supporters and Leaf fans, and it's a win-win for people that love to criticize them. And you see a lot of that here in Canada. Obviously, our ESPN is TSN, and we call it it's Toronto Sports Network, right? And with the Sportsnet as well. You know what I call Sportsnet? Leafsnet, because the media coverage in Canada, that's all they talk about is the Leafs, and it's a win-win and a lose-lose. And here's why it's a lose-lose: because if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you have to be excited that Matthews stuck up for himself. It's all everybody talks about and everybody complains about and says the team is too soft. They have no grit. They can't stick up for themselves. But then the guy goes ahead and does it by pretty much using a weapon. I mean, let's be honest. He used the stick. I mean, that's a little bit exaggerant, but he used the stick to cross-check Dahlin in the head. I mean, you have to stick up for yourself, but you can't do it in that way. So what stinks now, is that the next time he's thinking about sticking up for himself, he might remember that last time it didn't work out too well. And I think it was almost like a lot of people that are Leaf supporters were happy to see him stick up for himself, and they were disappointed with the suspension. But I still think that we should all notice that it's good that Matthews and Stars stick up for themselves. But when you cross that head region, especially when you're kind of just going back and forth, I think 2 games is fine. I do think that having no prior past, it plays a huge part. You see why Tom Wilson gets suspended all the time when he even does anything wrong now. Same thing with Marchand, because they've had such a past, So that definitely is a huge factor. But, I think that, again, like just the fact that the way it ended up being so dangerous might kind of deteriorate him from wanting to do that again. And that's what's kind of rough. Like McKinnon was getting lots of havoc from standing up for himself off the faceoff draw. I'm sure you saw that play where he got high sticked against Arizona, and then he pretty much jumped the guy. And hey, I'm a biased East Coast boy. I like the East Coast players, but you look at McKinnon there, he got blatantly high sticked, almost looked like the guy did it on purpose. He takes matters into his own hands, took the gloves off and did what he wanted. So he did not walk up to that guy with his stick and then just hit him in the head with it. that's the difference between a superstar sticking up for themselves and a superstar, committing like a violent act. And so, in summary, I like the idea of sticking up for yourself, but don't do it where you could actually hurt someone like that.
Your weekend review overall in pucks. Our pucks have been just in fuego. God bless.
Thank you.
We've been in fuego. We had, I think, one loss last week in the pucks.
Awesome.
I think we were 6-1 in pucks, and we took Monday off. We had the Jets yesterday. Overall, how'd you do? Number one, what are you seeing out west, back east? Number two, and number three. I talked about this last week. This damn Yotes offense is
I
off
know.
rails.
I know. It's crazy. If only the month of March was just the entire hockey season, the Coyotes would be an amazing team. I'm disappointed, Jeff. I didn't go bigger on that over I had last night with the Habs and then Yotes. Real disappointed in myself with that one. And I know it's not something that we're supposed to say, but I really am because I liked it a lot and I just kind of stayed pretty conservative. But, it was a pretty good week. And I'll tell you, I probably mention this every week, but, the travel spots become very apparent. And that would be my biggest tip to anybody getting into NHL, and anyone that asks me what I would say is what I look for is travel spots. And it usually impacts my over betting or under betting or fading a team. You look Monday night, only game of the night, Ottawa Coyotes, Sens are back at home. Got a kind of a rusty goaltender in there. Coyotes, second last game of their road trip. Boom, game of the night, 5-3. Next day, we got the Coyotes again. Back-to-back this time. Another tail end of their road trip game. Montreal without Ben Sherratt. Boom, flies over the total. I mean, if you notice so many of these, and I'm excited because I'll tell you what, it's fun to be at a game and bet the over, but it's better when you actually didn't force it and you planned it out. Tomorrow, I'll probably be on the over with the Panthers and the Golden Knights. Golden Knights, are allowing goals right now. It's going to be their very first game back at home. Florida, as we know, can score. And last night, they got robbed of a couple, I think. So, these road trips mean a lot to me. And I think that was really the focus of my last 6-7 days since we last spoke.
Today's slate, bigger than usual for us, at least on Wednesday. We're not picking through one or two games.
Yeah.
I guess my first question to you before we bring up the slate, unfortunately, I will not be able to bring up our usual wager talk screen to everyone here. I apologize. But I noticed the Bruins the night before they played and they used Allmark. It was almost like they were getting themselves set up for the game tonight against Minnesota. They're bringing Swayman back. But overnight, I saw Minnesota open up as the favorite. I saw some overnight money come in on the Bruins. If I was to cherry pick your brain on that game to start, more surprised Minnesota favorite with Swayman in net, or was this the old okie dokie setup here where, hey, we're gonna open up Minnesota the favorite and we're gonna get Bruin money today?
Yeah, I definitely was a little bit surprised by this number here. And I think you're right. Well, that's what it comes down to. It's nice to be able to have that plan. We'll see if that plan works out. That's always a different story about, having that strategic starting goaltender plan versus if it actually works out. But there's definitely, when I look at this game, the Wild to me, Jeff, I aren't the same team they were a month ago.
No,
they aren't. They simply aren't. And that expression of, catching a falling knife like I did yesterday. And boy, was I wrong. So I'm happy you had a winner on that Jets game because I was wrong with the Golden Knights. And they played a great first 5 minutes. And that's about it, really. When you look at this Minnesota team, it's not even really their offense I'm worried about. It's the amount of goals they're allowing. And even at home or on the road or no matter who's in net, they're not playing great defensively. And I know it's a back-to-back like you mentioned, but if the Bruins can play a good defensive game, then I think they can get it done. And as far as the price goes, I would say we're getting a pretty good number here on them.
No, 100%. And the Minnesota's been funny lately, like you said, especially this month. caught them a few times dogs at home, which I've been taking Vegas's cue there and say, all right, well, I'll take the favorite there. Thank you for the little heads up there. And I'm almost like leaning today with they're telling me Minnesota's the favorite, even with Swayman in net. I would have felt more comfortable, obviously, with Allmark in net. But it's almost like the Bruins were setting themselves up for this game. We're going to bring Allmark in. Yet Vegas said, not so fast. We're still going to have the Wild favorite.
Yeah, that's what's weird. And I mean, I don't know. I'll tell you, like, I know a Wild fan, believe it or not, and he even told me he's ready to fade them tonight.
Okay.
And this guy bets on the Wild like every single game. So take that as it is. But the fact of the matter is, this guy, like, I don't know. What I don't like, Jeff, is that if it's against top tier opponents or if it's against bottom feeder opponents, right now the Minnesota Wild are allowing goals. Giving up 5 last night, or giving up 5 a couple days ago to the Detroit Red Wings. Not something that I like very much. Then you give up 6 against Nashville. It just seems like their style of play is working against them. They don't take care of the puck. They make mistakes in the neutral zone. And I really think Boston will be able to take advantage of it. So, especially because, let's be honest here, they're coming off a pretty good defensive game. 2-1 win. It was a goaltending battle. It kind of sets up for it a little bit here for your Bees.
Yeah, and I'll close on this game just with the 6.5 juice. I'm sorry, 6 under juiced under -115 there. Kind of surprised it's not even juiced on the over. We talked last week kind of at lengths about these totals. Do you take the over? Hope it gets to 3-3, obviously winner, or do you go team total here? So I didn't break down the team total. I would guess, this is just a guess, Minnesota 3.5 juice under, Bruins 2.5 juiced over. I would assume that's the script they're showing us.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm just pulling it up right now, but that would be I think that'd be a good play. I can't really explain why, but just in this case, I don't mind taking the Bruins money line. I can't explain why. I don't. It's funny. There's just certain scenarios where it's all preference based, for all of us. And I guess with this scenario here, I just look at the money line and I think that's mispriced. And you talk with me a lot about when they get the fishing line out and they're trying to bait you into a line. They're trying to bait you into something a little bit. And I'm hoping that's not the case right now. But how much do you take into account home road split? Because this is a team that in the Wild that was a lot better at home for a long time, and now I feel like it's maybe built too much into the number here. Over 2.5 at DraftKings is -155 for the Bruins. And as you said, over 3.5 plus 145, -165 for 2.5 for the Minnesota Wild. So both of them obviously heavily juiced to the 2.5.
Yeah, so the mindset, okay, and it's not a big number here, Andrew. Okay, so you say to yourself, okay, do I take the Bruins plus the 105 or whatever you can get with them, or do I take them over 2.5 goals minus some heavy juice, but just get to 3 and win, baby?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing. I mean to me that's kind of what I thought I was going to be doing yesterday with that Florida Panthers game, and it backfired on me big time. They won 3-2 in overtime, and that's just the worst feeling in the world when you have a team total. But hey, if I would have had regulation, I also would have lost. So that kind of made me feel just a little bit better, at least.
Tonight's card again, Columbus, Ottawa favored. Ottawa favored by -140. We talked at length about the Bruins, Minnesota. Calgary -325. Really not a lot we can do with that. And Tampa, obviously, -290. Any love for any props, any regulation plays, any puck plays, or even Columbus, Ottawa, Ottawa -140. Whenever they're favored, it's just like, I know they're playing Columbus, but Really?
Yeah. Well, weren't they like 160 against the Coyotes? And
Yeah.
that backfired for them. I like the over 6.5, Jeff, with the Columbus and Ottawa game. I really do. I think that, what comes down to it is that when you bet an over, you obviously want both teams to have allowed plenty of goals recently, but you also want them both to have scored recently. And I think they're both kind of being involved in those games. But when you also look at the last couple of games for Columbus, allowing, 4, 6, 5, 5, 4, it's almost become a normal thing for them to give up 4 or 5 goals, looking like the Detroit Red Wings out there. And, look at this Ottawa Senators team. They just got embarrassed. I mean, that game against Arizona was set up for them to do well. I mean, they were at home. They're getting healthier. Arizona ended their road trip, and all of a sudden they start the game like they have been. And the goaltending has not been good for Ottawa, no matter who is out there. So I'm going to look at the over 6.5 in that one. There was one other play I really liked for tonight. Oh, yeah. And, what was it? Yeah, New Jersey and Calgary. I'm looking at that one. I like under 6. Whether you believe it or not, it's funny because I had over 6 yesterday with the Canucks and the Devils, and the Canucks have been a massive over team. The Devils are really fun to watch as well. They open things up, they make things fun, but I think there's going to be a correction here made from yesterday. And there's some teams I've had my eye on for that, Jeff, and it doesn't happen all the time, but back-to-backs are so overrated to me, and people always think that back-to-backs mean over. To me, sometimes a back-to-back means you're going to correct your mistakes you made the previous night. What better opportunity to do it than immediately the next day and not waiting 2, 3, 4 days to play your game? And I think that Calgary, the Daryl Sutter way, when they play the way he wants to play, it's a low scoring game, and they play trap style hockey, and it's defensive. So I actually think with the Devils and Flames, we could go under 6 here with that one. But lots of chalk on those late games though, Jeff. It's a bigger slate than we're used to, but it's very chalky.
Tough to to end the night anywhere there with the big numbers. Your mindset would even say, all right, I mean, Calgary regulation, that's got to be juiced high. Puck line, Tampa, I would think, I mean, in my eyes, because New Jersey's been playing better, but Calgary minus 325. Vegas is saying that's a statement to me, but we've seen Colorado lose minus 600. So, it's almost like,
yeah.
the banana in the tailpipe, right?
Exactly. Like it's when you see some of these minus 300s, that's the thing. That's when I start to look towards the team totals. But even then, they're still sometimes really juiced up. But what's crazy, just on a conversation about the season in general, is how long it took the bookmakers to adjust to how bad the Kraken are. It's actually unbelievable. I mean, they've obviously adjusted now, but I mean, they're playing the defending champions. But how many times are we able to get pretty good prices against the Kraken this season? Or even see 6s as totals. The amount of goals they give up. Let me check out what the team total is for Tampa Bay here tonight, what the price is on for that, because I think they're going to score goals. Seattle gives up goals. Tampa Bay's been kind of getting on a roll here a little bit. Tampa Bay over 3.5 goals, minus 135. So all of a sudden you take out Seattle, forget what they're going to do. Don't worry about their scoring, and we worry about the Lightning getting us a couple goals. That's not too bad.
I agree. I'm going to tiptoe through the tulips on this question. Did you fill out any brackets?
I actually haven't yet. I'm going to. I have. That's the honest truth. I will.
Okay, so if we were to wrap up here in regards to the tournament, obviously you work at Wager Talk, you talk to a lot of people. You're gonna, I did a couple brackets. My daughter's hounded me at UConn. Hey, Dad, can you help me here? I got a lot of people having me join their stuff, and I'm not the guy that has 25 brackets.
Lots of pressure on you too, eh? They
Yeah.
calling up dad and trying to get you to find me some winners, dad. I need a winner.
And you know what? They stuck it to my Huskies at UConn because they're playing New Mexico. They're supposed to get by that. They're probably going to play Arkansas in the next game. And then the winner gets to say they made it to the Sweet 16 and face Gonzaga. Which, we don't have enough offense. It goes too stagnant. If we play a defensive game against Zags, we have a chance, but we can't get behind early. But my question to you is, what's the buzz around Wager Talk, your connections? I know the world's on Arizona because they watched Kentucky over the weekend play their mirror image of a team, the Tennessee Vols, and they'd already seen them twice and they couldn't throw it in the ocean. Now the whole world is on Arizona, and I'm just shaking my head. But what's your colleague saying behind the Wager Talk desk?
It's so funny you say that. I was on the radio with Morency last night, and so I told him I like Arizona, and he goes, "I like Arizona. My producer likes Arizona. This guy likes Arizona. Come on!" And he's like, it was so funny because I told him, I was like, I like their offense. I like the pace they play at, and he's like, we all do. It was one of those funny things, and I was just like, well, that sucks. I guess that's a loser. The second you find out everybody has the same play as you, it's always a different mindset. But the interesting thing about Wager Talk is that everyone kind of does their own different conferences, and everyone kind of, some people do it all, but some people specialize in just certain regions and that kind of stuff. So everyone's kind of buzzing about their own little thing, and that's what I kind of like, is that there's not just the whole crowd talking about the big teams or some people talking about those mid majors. It's pretty much all spread around. I'll tell you what, we just talked about team totals. We just talked about team totals in hockey, and I cashed a team total with Texas CC by 0.5 point last night. And I'll tell you what, I'll be running a lot of team totals in the March Madness tournament, Jeff, and taking out the spreads, taking out the point spread, worrying about how many points under over will this team get to. Because a lot of times if a team plays well, especially if it's a dog, maybe they don't cover, maybe they put up a great fight and put up some great points, or vice versa with that favorite. So I'll be looking at lots of team totals, but I hate hearing that you like that everyone's on Arizona, though, because I said I like them too. But Kentucky, I don't know. What Duke? I think they're too soft. What are you thinking? I know you're getting the calls right now. I need a winner for my bracket.
I mean, when I was on the plane, I did the official one. I had a Texas Tech, Kentucky, Nova, Wisconsin Final Four, and that's more contrarian. I think Nova is sneaky. I like where they're positioned there. They are in the Arizona bracket. As in Kansas, I don't think Kansas gets there. I think either Auburn or Wisconsin picks them off. I love Kentucky down there. I think UCLA has a run in them. I think UNC can pick off Baylor in the second round if they get there. The Zags up top, again, if Arkansas gets by Vermont, which is a sneaky, a lot of sharps are leaning Vermont there, will face UConn, and the winner gets the Zags. I think even though Duke has already picked off the Zags, they're not playing well. I think Davidson can give Duke some trouble if they meet in the second round. But I like Tech there. I like their defense. So, I went Texas Tech, Kentucky, Nova, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Nova, Kentucky 67-63.
Nice. I'll tell you what, Nova is a fun team to watch, and I like them as well. So we'll see. I think they can go real deep. Obviously, they're highly touted, and everybody loves them, and they've got a high ranking. But I've enjoyed watching them. I would say out of every single game, every team I've watched this year in college hoops, I've watched the most Nova games, probably, Jeff. Just because they're entertaining. I love the pace they play at. They're a fun over team. Who doesn't like betting overs? I mean, and realistically, their halftime adjustments are really good. I think they always, even if they're up like 16, they always come out with different schemes and different sets, and I like that.
Being a former Division III women's basketball coach. I watched them up at the XL Center against UConn. They all get up together. They all high five together. They are a team. They are a machine that work in unison. Everyone knows their role. They even had 3 guys in sweatsuits wiping the court with the UConn players. They're never razzled. I called it the Princeton offense of 2022, meaning they spread you out. The guards back you in. If you double, they kick it out for a 3. It was just the most amazing thing to watch.
And you know what? As much as and that you can tell you coach just by everything you just said, because other people wouldn't buy into that type of stuff. That stuff doesn't even get noticed. But there's a rivalry back in my hometown. I'm actually doing an interview with one of the coaches and players today. Unfortunately, our Canadian March Madness is going on while I'm going to be away, so I'm going to miss that this weekend, at least parts of it. But I'm doing some interviews, and this coach, and he's won probably, I think it's 6 out of the 7 years since he's been there, or 6 out of the 8 years. It's just been absolute dominance from this one team, and they oftentimes you have to end up against another crosstown rival team. And I bring it up because what you just said there about the camaraderie. The difference is it's not talent level between these two competitors and schools. It's the cohesion, the chemistry, the coaching, adjustments, all that has gone to the successful team that's won like 6 of the last 8 titles. It's not like I'm telling you that if I told you that, you might think in your head, well, that doesn't sound like your league has much, parity, but it really does. It's just when it comes down to that semifinals game and that championship game, this one team is always ready. And other teams get out-coached and their chemistry is not there. They start playing ISO ball. And, for me, because a lot of people don't know, and I think I told you, like, basketball was my sport. That's the sport that I played at the highest level. For me, I was a volleyball player as well. I played a little bit of hockey, like, for fun, but I'm just good at betting it. So it's funny when people hear me talking about basketball, or they're trying to get me in some 3-point contest in Vegas, I guess, with some wager talk people, which would be hilarious. And everyone's setting these odds and putting me at like 4 or 5 because they think I'm some hockey guy. But little do they know I grew up playing basketball. But yeah, it's all about cohesion, and they look to be like that as well. But that's one of the reasons also why I like Arizona, because I think that they're a team. They play very well as a group.
I agree. The crawler has been rolling all 34 minutes for us at McInnis Picks, at Wager Talk, at Sports Mayflower. As I tell everyone here to jump over to the YouTube for Mayflower Sports. As we always do every week, Andrew, wrap it up here. Tell everyone, A, where to find you, B, what's going on this weekend. I know you guys have a big day on Friday, so tell everyone where to go.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you are in Vegas or planning to head to Vegas at the end of the week, we'll be at the Westgate from 2 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Just everybody from the Wager Talk family. So anybody you want to meet, Teddy Covers will be there, Kelly Stewart, hopefully Marco D'Angelo and all those people will be there. Drew Martin will be in attendance, and we're going to just have some drinks. We've got some merchandise for everybody, some shirts, some coffee mugs. Definitely look forward to giving Jeff one, a shirt or a sweater. So it's going to be a fun time, a blast. We look forward to it. And as far as just my own personal stuff, it's always, I will say this, anybody that's interested in getting my plays, I don't like being a sales type guy. If you're interested in buying my plays, especially heading into a weekend like this, grab a 3-day pass, grab a 1-day pass. Don't buy just one individual play. Between hoops, between hockey, between even some tennis, there's going to be plays being released all the time, and you want to get those plays right to your email the second I release them. Don't wait to buy a pick. So that's all I really have. I appreciate you having me on and being up so early with me. I thought I was going to be starting my day a little earlier, going to the gym earlier this morning, but man, you are a early riser, and I can't wait to shake hands and meet for the first time in person.
I can't wait either. Obviously, the ECSI family and everyone here wishes you safe travels. Look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. I might tiptoe over to the Westgate on Thursday. To those guys will be up at the clubhouse, so I might get a preview on Thursday on what to expect on Friday. But again, safe travels from
Thank you.
everyone here. And always remember this, people: if you are wagering today, and wager responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Andrew care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Andrew McInnis and McInnis Picks at Wager Talk. We wish everyone a blessed day. We wish Andrew safe travels, and we will see you soon.